Hi guys, it's Ebird Online and I'm back with another review from Before the 90 Days. This is Season 7, Episode 4, Don't Forget Your Past. And in this episode, I'm going to be covering Michael and Juliana and Mike and Natalie. Guys, thank you so much. I hit 14,000 over the weekend and I'm well on my way to 15,000. If you haven't already, please don't forget to press the subscribe button and don't forget to follow me on Twitter at mbird99. So first up for this review, we have Mike and Natalie. And Mike is off to the Ukraine. As you remember last week, Natalie called him and told him her visa has been denied. She's not quite sure what the problems are, but she feels she needs Mike by her side to help to sort things out. And Mike tells us that they need to spend some time together because it's been 6 months since they've seen each other. He believes he'll be able to figure out what the problem is with the visa. And Mike, I somehow think that's wishful thinking. Even Michael needed to actually employ a lawyer to try and get his visa through. But nevertheless, off he goes. Mike's uncle, Bo, will be looking after his business whilst he's gone. Mike gives him very detailed instructions. Keep an eye on the place, Bo. And Bo said that he would. Luckily for Bo, he's cross-eyed. He can see the whole of the farm from just one vantage point. And Bo tells us, I hope they have a good time together. I wish the very best for them. In fact, I wish the world for them. Bo, just look after the business and try and make some money while Mike's away. I've got a feeling Natalie's got designs on his cash. But it's quite nice to see Mike and Bo having a really big hug, and it seems like they really do have a fondness for each other. But I do have worries about this business. I understand it's a tree business, but I'm not quite sure how they make money. What, do you fell trees and then sell them? They must take ages to grow. Maybe it's all Christmas trees, but as we know, that's seasonal. All I've seen so far are two big kids riding around on dirt bikes or quad bikes and throwing blue dye into a filthy stagnant pool, otherwise known as a lake. I really don't understand what the business is, and I don't understand how they make money. And as we'll see later in this episode, that might well prove to be a problem. Next we see Natalie in the Ukraine, and she's with her friends trying on new clothes for Michael. And I was wondering to myself, given that you're already engaged and you've already sealed the deal, you seem to be somewhat worried about Michael, and I kind of felt like she wanted him there last week to make sure that Michael wasn't going to stray or maybe go on another website and find another Ukrainian. And her standing with her friends trying on new clothes and saying yes or no to each dress further confirms my suspicion that she doesn't feel this relationship is 100% solid. She tells us, I'm 35. I can't stop from getting old. Oh yes you can. Just look at Kim Zolciak. She doesn't look a day over 70. Natalie tells us how they met. She fell in love with him immediately because he had a kind and beautiful smile, and she said he felt like home. I'm sure he did, Natalie, but I wonder if he'll still feel like home when you're in Squirm or whatever it's called and everything's closed at 10 p.m. and you're bored of listening to the banter of that witty raconteur Bo. I wonder if Mike will still feel like home then. She goes on to say she doesn't understand why the visa was denied, but she does seem genuinely excited to see him. Later we see her going to lunch with the same friends, and guys, I kind of feel like these friends are semi-haters because they absolutely grill her. She shows them pictures of him and she tells them he used to be fat, but he went on a diet and now he's lean and mean but without any green. And she said, he's the opposite from me. He loves hamburgers and coke and he knows I'm really clean living. And one of her hater friends said, I heard that's what Americans are like. And I'm not sure what it was about the way that she said it. I didn't really like it. I didn't really care for her attitude. And it has to be said, Michael did used to look like a man who answers a dozen to the question, how many fun-sized chocolate bars are in a normal-sized one? But he's lost lots of weight, so I really don't see why they're turning their nose up at him. But then the friends go in on Natalie. They ask, why do you want kids so quickly? And she tells them, it's what I want. I'm going to work on him. And then they said, what does he do? And she said, he's the manager of a construction company. Natalie, no he isn't. And I wondered to myself, has he told her fibs about what he does? Or maybe when she first met him, he was a manager and since then he's bought this farm? Or maybe she just wants her friends to pipe down. It will be very interesting to find out. But I would say one thing, being the manager of a construction company is quite open-ended. You could earn 40 grand or you could earn 350 grand, who knows? So I have no clue why they're turning their nose up at it. And then they ask, can he feed you and a child? And Natalie had a long think about it and her friend said the long silence says it all. Her friend tells the VT her ex-husband was really rich. He was the owner of his own business. But I think Mike is much worse than her ex-husband. What can he offer her? And then they tell Natalie he needs to get a second job. Second job? You have no idea how much money he has, what he earns, what property he owns, what stocks and shares he has, and also what about love? And to be fair, one of her friends did say, don't be such a pessimist, but they've set the tone, and Natalie didn't care for it at all. She said, I don't like being attacked, and I feel my friends are being really unfair. Later on, Natalie treats us to the information that she wants to have a baby right now, whilst they're in the Ukraine. And that's very interesting considering they spoke about it just the other day, and Mike expressly said, I want us to wait a little while. He didn't say why, but I think she's clicked on as to why it is. But she's not worried. She's thinking, I'm 35 and my clock is ticking. And she tells us a bit about her ex-husband. She She said he was a tough guy, and that's part of the reason why she left. And she also said her mother hated him, and it's really important to her that her mother likes her partner. Her mother really likes Mike, and that just adds to his appeal. And we're standing watching Natalie and her mum talk in the home that they share together. You can see they're very, very close. And her mum's confirming it's really important that you have kids. All women should have kids, and you should ensure you start a family as soon as possible. And she tells her mum, I've got to go to the airport to meet Mike. I'm late. When she gets to the airport, she's worried that he may not show. But as soon as the flight disembarks, you can see Mike head and shoulders above everybody else. And they run over to each other and embrace. And the Ebird can't help but wonder if she notices that he's been doing his martial art. You know, his brand new martial art, Cookido, or Cookido as he likes to call it. Ben & Jerry's is his favourite, but she doesn't seem to notice. And going through the airport, they act like a pair of big kids. And you can really see these guys are in love. She's like sitting on the back of his suitcase and he's pulling her along and they're laughing and joking. And these guys, out of everybody I've seen, really do, I think, have great chemistry. And I do actually think what we see here, for once, is the real deal. He bought her a toy unicorn, and as they sit in the back of the taxi, he presented it to her. And I can tell she really loves the soft side of him, and the two of them are really playful together. Next they go back home, where she lives with her mum, and all three of them hug together, and mum seems to really like him. And everything seems to be going swimmingly. But TLC, you have to do it to us, don't you? They next treat us to 3 to 5 minutes of excruciating, we haven't seen each other for 6 months, and we're going to have sex talk. Mike was intimating that Natalie was a pussycat, and he showed what she was going to do, complete with actions. Oh, come on, TLC. This is beyond embarrassing, and you do it with every single couple. I refuse to believe that every single couple is really open about when and how long for, and the wherefores about them having sex. I refuse to believe it. You put them up to it. It's not just boring, it's cringeworthy. And this is everything from Mike and Natalie this week. So we're going to see how they get on next week, I guess, with Mike in the Ukraine. And as far as I'm concerned, I think the future's bright for them. But the only thing that might possibly be a problem is Natalie's insistence on having a child right now. And also, does Natalie know his real job? Guys, let me know what you think. Is Mike lying to Natalie, or is Natalie lying to her friends? Thinking back to last week, I did get the impression that she didn't really know he'd bought that business, because I would think anyone that knows somebody's just bought a business knows they're not going to be really flush. But who knows? Let me know in comments down below. And next up, the one you've been waiting for, Michael and Juliana. So we catch up with Juliana, and she's in the bathroom with Michael's daughter Cece, and she's doing her hair and makeup. And you can see, guys, this daughter absolutely idolises Juliana. And who can blame her? Juliana's beautiful, but she's also good fun, and she really connects with the kids, mainly because she's only a few years older than them. And after Juliana finishes fixing Cece's hair, I wonder if she'll offer to do Sarah's hair as well. I seem to remember it was somewhat of an unkempt mess last time we saw her. Juliana tells us she's extremely nervous about meeting Sarah. Max, Michael's son, doubles down on this, and he tells the camera, my mum is very assertive. You'll always know what she wants, but she does put things in a nice way, but she puts things very firmly, and you will always know exactly what she means. Translation, my mum knows what she wants, she'll say it really firmly, and she expects to get what she wants, and only a foolish and incredibly deluded moron would bother trying to stand up to her. Poor Juliana, it doesn't bode well. But then Michael did something else which I thought was slightly shady. He said to the producers, with Juliana by his side, Sarah's really sharp, and she'll be able to see through any insincerity and any bullcrap. So as long as Juliana is sincere, then she'll be okay, all will be fine. And I kind of almost felt that Michael was wanting to say to Juliana, are you sincere? Are you being real? Is this just for the money, or is it for me? And even though I can't 100% tell, I think Sarah will see through everything, and she'll be able to know straight away if you're not being sincere and real. Michael, if you want to say that to Juliana, you need to find the balls to say it yourself. Don't say it via a third party. Third party threats are my most disliked type of threats. And then in walks Sarah, and they're all sitting down having a lunch, and Sarah walks in from next door. And Sarah tells producers most women would feel threatened by a sexy, well-travelled, gorgeous, talented, intelligent, tall, sexy, beautiful, attractive, pleasing, alluring, heavenly, beguiling, ravishing, gorgeous, irresistible, elegant, seductive, tantalizing, exotic, intriguing, striking, luscious, resplendent, imposing, fabulous model. But not me. Really, Sarah? Okay then. this. And she said, I don't have the time, the energy, or the need. Sarah, if you feel threatened, it doesn't take any extra time to feel threatened. It doesn't take any extra time to feel jealous or envious. It just creeps up on you, and it is what it is. Lots of times, you're not even in control of it. So having time or energy or need means absolutely nothing. It will just creep up on you and slap you on your forehead. The lady doth protest too much, methinks. And when they walk in, Sarah goes to great pains to show she's at ease. And I haven't got a read on Sarah yet, so I don't know if this is putting it on, or I don't know if she really genuinely is at ease. And I don't know quite what it is, but I get this feeling that Sarah somehow thinks Michael's a little bit of an idiot. Not just because of his relationship with Juliana, but I think that was part of the reason why they maybe drifted apart in the first instance. And Cece explained to Sarah that they'd all been eating deep fried mac and cheese. And normally if somebody told me about food like that, I'd be quite worried. But I'm really not concerned that Juliana is going to get type 2 diabetes anytime soon. But Sarah laughs and says, Juliana, prepare to get fat. Juliana then said, oh my god, I've got to start dieting straight away. I've put on so much weight. I've gotten so fat. There's nothing of Juliana. She's absolutely tiny. She's not just normal thin. She's not just model thin. Why? She's crystal meth for 15 years thin. And when she said that, the camera panned round to Sarah, and I feel like she's suddenly been injected with time, energy, and the need to be threatened by Julia. And guys, it was a tumbleweed moment. I don't think Julia was saying it to be shady. I think Julia has probably been overeating, and when you're 20 or 22, whatever she is, and you're very tall and thin, any bit of weight, I guess you're watching it. And Sarah's by no means fat. She's in fact got quite a good figure, but it's one of those moments, and I'm sure all women have had it at some point, where you're sitting feeling fine, and somebody who's way thinner than you says, oh my god, I'm so fat. Then what does that make me? But I do think it was just a slip of the tongue. But then Sarah said to Juliana, how do you see your role? Juliana answers, my goals? And I thought it was quite amusing. Maybe her role is her goals. Sarah said, no, your role. How do you see this working? And Juliana was honest and said she really doesn't know. And then Juliana told producers, in Brazil, it's very atypical for everybody to get on like this. Usually the ex-wives try to make the new girlfriend's life absolute hell. And you can tell she's still very worried that this might all be an act from Sarah, and Sarah's just lulling her into a false sense of security whilst she sharpens her knives. And when all three of them are sat talking to producers with Michael in the middle, Michael tells Sarah the kids love Juliana already. In a really short space of time, the kids and Juliana have managed to build up an excellent rapport. In fact, the kids adore her. Steady on, Michael, you're overplaying your hand. And all this really rubbing it in how much the kids absolutely love Juliana is not conducive to the smooth running of this little strange menage a trois. And if Michael had any brains at all, he'd know that. Then Michael tells Sarah it will be great to have Juliana around as a resource. How romantic. What's Michael to you, Juliana? He's my lover, my protector, my best friend. He's my everything. What's Juliana to you? She's a rich woman when she's with me, and she's also a resource. Thank God Michael's got money, otherwise you'd have absolutely no chance. And then Sarah said, what I want from you, Juliana, is I want you not to parent at all. Juliana didn't know what to say, and you could tell it was quite an uncomfortable moment. And Sarah tells producers, Juliana can either embrace this or not. The choice is hers. And Juliana said, I felt really awkward when we were all sitting there, and I feel as if I'm destroying their family. And I think Juliana's right. I think there are awkward times ahead. And that's everything from Juliana and Michael for this week. So what I take from this is that Sarah, in fact, does have a small bit of a problem with Juliana. She's already told us anyway, Juliana wouldn't be interested in Michael if Michael didn't have loads of money. But then really, Sarah, you need to take that up with Michael. Obviously, Juliana is interested in the money, but looking like Juliana and having the personality of Juliana, he can't be the only rich guy that's shown interest in her. So if she wanted to, she could bounce to another rich guy in the click of a finger. So she's obviously chosen Michael for a reason. And I do think to some extent she does like him, and she also loves the kids. I think Sarah coming in and saying, I don't want you to parent, is a little bit strong, because whilst of course she's never going to be Max and Cece's parent, if you're living with them part-time, there may be times when Michael's out and she has to chastise them or guide them, and to some extent that's a low level of parenting. So guys, tell me what you think. Do you think Michael's throwing gasoline on the fire and stoking it up by saying the kids adore Juliana, they absolutely love her? And do you think if there's too much of this, that Sarah is going to get peed off and it's going to have a negative effect on the relationship of Juliana and Sarah? Let me know in comments. You know I like to answer as many as I can. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Please help to push me towards that 15,000. All you need to do is press the red button and you'll make Ebird a very happy Ebird. For everybody that's subscribed already, it genuinely is very appreciated, and thank you so much for all the amazing comments. I'm really happy you're enjoying the content. You've been listening to Ebird Online. Ciao for now.